Now we are going to deal with scanning using specific port ranges or specific ports. For example, if you are looking for an infected machine that is using a specific port to communicate, or in any other case when you are using for a specific service or open port, and you are not really interested about the rest, you are going to narrow down the port ranges and also by that optimize the scanning performance, which can be very important when scanning multiple targets or we are doing a time-consuming job, like a penetration test or network audit. The first command that we are going to run is nmap-p80, then we are going to run that on google.com and add -v for verbosity. Okay, so here the port 80 TCP is open. Now let's change this port to 443 on the same host. As you can see again, it's the HTTPS. It is open. And let's try again on port 4444. It is open. And again, let's do it on port 81. This one is, as you can see, filtered. Now let's try to scan everything on our own network that is running on port 80. And of course, we are going to use CIDR notation to scan all 256 addresses on our network. Let's wait for a few seconds, and we have the result. So, as you can see, we have scanned all the local addresses and the services that are specifically running on port 80. We even have MAC addresses of those devices. Now let's scan the local host. Localhost is basically the computer that you are using, and all the services on the local host that are running on something that is called local loopback. And it is equal to the address which is 127.0.0.1. You can scan it again using the numerical address and the result will be the same. So by now we learned that the nmap uses the prefix or flag -p for setting the specific port or port range to be scanned. This part of a syntax can be combined with many other scanning methods inside the nmap. So in one of the previous examples we use the argument p80 to get nmap to scan and know that we are only interested in scanning the port 80. Using this same method, we can easily scan multiple ports. Now I'm going to do a scan on google.com using the -p80, 443, 2000 and 4444, everything on google.com, and we will easily check if those ports are closed, opened or filtered on that host. It's pretty easy, isn't it? So that's how we combine the ports into one scan command. Let's try it again on scanmenmap.org, and we get pretty much the similar results. Now we are going to scan a range of ports on google.com, a range from port 1 to port 100. The way we do that is pretty easy. We just put a dash between the 1 and 100. Not really the expected result, probably because all the interesting ports with their banners and services are running on a bit upper ports. And this is just the hostname of google.com. If you try to scan anything with only -p, you will not get any results at all. But if you add the dash after the p, actually when you have -p-, then you are scanning all the possible ports on that host. And believe me, this type of scan you should only use in local networks, because when you are scanning external hostnames or addresses, it can literally take forever. You can also use the service name after the -p, and we are going to scan the localhost in this case. nmap-p, http, and we are scanning localhost. You can also use wildcard when scanning services. That means that the result you are going to get is everything that is related to a specific service, in this case HTTP. As you can see, there are many services that Nmap output lists out for us. So let's try this with HTTPS. First of all, let's try it without wildcard. Okay, so it's 443 TCP, it's closed. Now let's run it. Let's run the same scan, but with HTTPS with wildcard, and let's see what happens. It's localhost, so those 3 ports are closed. Now try it on scanme.nmap.org, and you get the idea. This type of scanning, service scanning, actually works only on the case of services that are already recognized by Nmap libraries. There is one more method of port scanning in Nmap. It's basically scanning the only ports that are registered in Nmap services and libraries. So it goes in the following way. The basic syntax and symbols are a bit different, so in this case of scanning only registered ports in Nmap services, we are using square brackets. We are putting the range of ports inside a square bracket. In this case, 1 to 65,535. But unfortunately, we are not going to finish this scan because it will literally take forever. But instead of that, we are going to change our host name to our local host. And when the scan is finished, as you can see, we get more than 8,000 ports that are not shown, and the one that is shown is RPC bind that goes on port 111, and it's open in this case. Let's try the same scan, actually the identical command, but only on my own home network, using the full range of 256 addresses. Probably this is going to take a while, but we'll see. It is important to add, especially in long scans like this one, that it is very important to add -v, so you can see in real time what is happening with your scan. And like in this case, you are going to get a lot of information without waiting for the scan to finish.